Well, let's move into our section on how to flag and how to set up a flagging setup. Of course, we have a lot to say about flagging. It's a big part of what we do. But before we start, we thought we'd start with a dictionary definition of flagging. We found this one. It said to direct someone or to go in the specified direction by waving a flag or using hand signals. The irony of this definition is that we don't really use flags anymore, and we rarely use hand signals. But we do want to show you how to flag properly, and that's what we'll spend quite a bit of the next few minutes talking about. We don't really want to oversimplify flagging, but we thought maybe we'd start with ABCs. If you can remember that, you can remember a lot about flagging. A stands for advanced warning. We're going to talk about that. B stands for being visible and alert. And of course, C stands for control. Advanced warning is a very important part of flagging, and of course you might ask, well, why? Why is it so important that we put up advanced warning signs and so on and so forth? We want them to know, we want drivers to know that you're there before they get there. And so our advanced warning is designed primarily to get the driver's attention, and tell them about the upcoming construction situation, and begin to tell them what they need to do as they approach the work zone, but most importantly to tell them that you're there. Again, we want them to know that there's a flagger near the road that they're driving up to, and they need to be looking for you. That, to me, is the very most important part of the advanced warning sign system. Okay, let's talk about setting up your advanced warning signs. Really, there's three things we want you to know. There's much more to know about advanced warning, but these three things we want you to know now. First of all, you want to set up your furthest sign first. And second of all, we want you to set up your subsequent signs with traffic, of course, and not against traffic. And third, we want you to be aware of obstructions and reduced visibility. Now, what we mean by that is that although we're all for precise spacing between our signs based on a traffic control plan, we want you to be sensitive to obstructions and visibility. In other words, if you're supposed to be X amount of feet from your previous sign, and you notice that there's like a billboard there or a tree or something that'll block the sign that you're putting up, then put it in a place nearby where it's supposed to be so that it's visible and it gives your drivers plenty of warning of your presence as they approach the work site. The three primary signs that we use to set up advanced warning for our flagging setup are roadwork ahead, flagger, and be prepared to stop. Of course, there are many other signs you'll need to be familiar with, but for flagging, these are your primary advanced warning signs. Okay, let's talk about being visible. Of course, this is the B in the ABCs of flagging. But there are three things that we want to really point out when it comes to being visible and how to make yourself more visible. The first thing is you want to wear your hard hat. We mentioned earlier that your hard hat isn't just to protect your head from falling objects, but it's also to make you more visible to oncoming traffic. The second thing you could do, especially at night, is wear retro-reflective gear, clothing. Retroreflective is unique because it reflects light directly back towards the source. And so if somebody is driving up towards you and their headlights shine on you, that light will come right back towards the driver. It doesn't just diffuse the light, it doesn't just reflect the light in a diffused way, but in a very focused way sends it right back towards the source. And so it's very effective if you want people to see you at night. The third thing we had mentioned is you want to avoid the shadows. This is, of course, both during the day and the night. You want to be out where people can see you. The idea here is to be visible. And so you don't want to be someplace where it's darker or behind an object. You don't want to stand behind a car or behind a tree or what have you, because then people don't see you. So be visible. In addition to being visible, you also need to be alert. And so to that point, we'd encourage you to get plenty of sleep every night. And also, if you like, bring a cup of coffee or a thermos of coffee to work, and if that helps. And we'd also recommend that you get some exercise. There's clear evidence that if you get plenty of sleep, have a little bit of coffee, and get some exercise every day, that you'll be much more alert. And if you're much more alert, you'll do your job that much better. Control is the C of the ABCs of flagging. Your job involves controlling the flow of traffic in and around your worksite. And like most things, there's a right way and a wrong way of doing this. The three basic skills you need to know in order to control traffic is, number one, how to slow traffic. Number 2, how to stop traffic. And number 3, how to release traffic. To slow traffic through your site, start by showing the slow side of your paddle. The paddle should be in your hand closest to the street. With your other hand, make a downward motion as if you're dribbling a basketball. And of course, do not stand in the path of moving traffic. The second skill you need in order to control traffic is how to stop traffic. To stop traffic, turn your stop slow paddle to stop. Second, move your free hand away from your body, palm out towards the front driver. Third, make eye contact with the first driver. Make sure that the first vehicle comes to a complete stop and then move to a spot where you can be seen by other approaching vehicles. By all means, never turn your back. Let's talk about how to release traffic. Return to the shoulder of the road and turn the paddle to the slow side. With your free arm, signal vehicles to proceed. After the last vehicle is through, display the stop side and wait on the shoulder of the road for the next vehicle. In San Diego, the flagging traffic plan is TC9. As always, you will want to make sure that you are using the proper plan for the situation you are working. Notice the advanced warning signs for the flagging setup. On both the work and non-work sides of the setup, we will be using roadwork ahead, the flagger sign, and be prepared to stop. Your lead flagger will show you how to determine proper spacing of your advanced warning signs. Notice from the traffic plan where both flaggers are positioned. On the work side, the flagger will be positioned just before the beginning of the taper. On the non-work side, the flagger will be positioned directly across from the first keep right sign. Remember, setups vary from location to location and area to area. Be sure you consult your traffic plan and ask your lead flagger if you have any uncertainty. Finally, let's notice once again that we need a 12-foot lane between the edge of the work trucks and the edge of the other side of the road. Actually, we would shoot for a little more space if you can get it. Remember, for vehicles to move safely through your work site, they need clear direction and ample space. Before we talk about the actual sequence of flagging, let's take a moment to talk about tailboards. A tailboard is a discussion you have with your partner prior to starting a job. At your tailboard, you should discuss hazards, job details, communications, etc. This is an excellent time to clear up any uncertainties with your lead flagger. Remember, every job starts with a tailboard, and every job change requires a new tailboard. Okay, here we go with our flagging sequence. At this point, the work crews have arrived, and it's time to begin controlling traffic. Step 1 is both flaggers get into position. Step 2, both flaggers hold traffic until the site is secure. Step 3, flagger 1 communicates through his or her radio to flagger 2 that he or she is ready to send traffic. Step 4, flagger 2 holds traffic until flagger 1 communicates that he or she is holding his or her traffic. Step 5, flagger 1 communicates a description of his or her last vehicle. Step 6, once the last vehicle passes through the setup, flagger 2 communicates last vehicle and asks if clear to send. Again, it is very important that you receive confirmation before you send your traffic. Just because you see the last vehicle drive past you does not mean that you are clear to send. You need confirmation. Step 7, once flagger 1 gives the clear to send, flagger 2 can return traffic.